Okay, part 2 of 10 reasons Donald Trump should not be the President of the United States of America. Here we go. Number 5. We already went through 10 for 6, and it was dreadful. Number 5. He's not a successful businessman either. It depends on how you classify successful. I'm not actually quoting it, because for himself, he's done really well, but he has screwed other people over to get there. So that really depends on how you define success. Okay, let's see how they can take a good argument and completely ruin it. Here we go. Quote, "The President of America should have some qualities. I am not saying that he is illiterate because he has a degree from the University of Pennsylvania." End quote. If that is the only reason you are not saying he is illiterate, then you are ignorant, because literacy has nothing to do with university degree. It depends on whether or not you can write and to what degree you can write. And some people learn by themselves. Some people learn outside of the general college system, university system. So please don't judge on those people, please. Okay, I'm just throwing out there respect to other people who did not go to university or maybe technical college or maybe took an apprenticeship and know how to write. Thank you very much. Quote, "But he has not got the qualities people expect from their president." End quote. I agree with that. He does not have the qualities that I expect from my president. Thank you very much. Quote, "His profession was business, and he is not even successful in that. He did host a crappy show, and that is not at all funny." End quote. Okay, purely subjective here. I was hoping for a little bit more objectivity. Quote, "He inherited a large wealth from his father and started a real estate business." End quote. Yes, he did inherit a lot of money from his father. So that really makes it easier to get big if you've got lots of starting capital. Quote, "He has gone bankrupt several times due to the wrathful wrong decisions taken by him." End quote. Decisions involving putting himself first above the company, which some people say makes him a good leader. I think makes him a terrible leader. But, oh well. Let's continue. Yeah, good argument there, but let's see if it can get better. Quote, "Today, most of his money comes through by means of TV shows. Now, think about it. A man who is known for taking wrong decisions and goes bankrupt every single time can be your president? Do you want to see America bankrupt after a year?" End quote. Now, let's put this straight. Donald Trump is not unsuccessful in all his businesses. He has not gone bankrupt every single time. That is literally false. That is literally false. You can fact check that. There are businesses around owned by Donald Trump that are not bankrupt. He only went bankrupt 3 different times. All of these were business bankruptcies. None of them were personal bankruptcies because he puts himself first. But America bankrupt after a year? Not that that's really going to change much whether or not Donald Trump is in charge. I mean, I don't think Hillary is going to save the national debt either. Seeing how big it is. I mean, people might say, "Oh yeah, Bush," and I'm thinking Ronald Reagan, and I'm thinking Obama went in and he just made it worse. I don't know how good Donald Trump is going to be on reducing the national debt, or at least slowing it down, but I think I'd be much happier if the U.S. broke even. But I don't think Hillary is the one that would do that job either, so not really much to contend there. 4. He is an idiot and not intelligent enough to serve as a president. There we have it. Here it is. A straight up ad hominem. That's right. Straight up. Quote, "He is not illiterate because he did graduate from an Ivy League university." End quote. If that is the only reason that he is not illiterate in your mind, as I said earlier, then you do not know what literacy is. Okay. Quote, but is that all for the potential president? Nope. He doesn't know anything outside of business. End quote. Actually, he does. He does a lot of backdoor deals with a lot of politicians. He plays golf with a lot of these politicians. He's practically a politician, a lobbyist, you'd say. Well, okay, let's continue. Quote, though he is adult when it comes to business taboo, but he is... not taboo. Let's start that over. Quote, though he is adult when it comes to business too, but he is an ignorant when it comes to science, research, and development. With him as the president, we will see a decrease in scientific advancements of America. He would simply stress on real estate business because that is what he knows best and will call upon inflating again. Can Americans afford another 2007 recession? End quote. You what, mate? What is this? Where is this coming from? He is ignorant when it comes to scientific research and development. Citation needed. When it comes as president, decreased scientific advancements. How do you know this? Where are you getting this idea from? Could you at least put some evidence in there? Even if it's not numbers, just say, because this is his position on something. Is it because he's against the global warming idea? Because a lot of people are, and a lot of these people that are against it are scientists too. Real estate, simply stress on real estate business. Okay, let's stop there. Let's go back up the page. You're not seeing this, but unless you're actually following me along with the article. All he cares about is immigration. Okay. He would simply stress on real estate business. This is a contradiction. What does he focus on? Immigration or real estate business? Or is it that maybe he focuses on multiple things and maybe real estate business isn't the only thing that he does? Thank you very much, Mr. Donald Trump has a crappy TV show, eh? Just saying, there's more to Trump than real estate. And you yourself have said it in this very article. Please stop contradicting yourself. Okay, number 3. He is very greedy. I think that's true. Let's be honest. I'm not going to say that it's 100% true because I don't know the man and I can't read his mind. But who knows? Quote, Donald Trump had a real estate business and has a spirit of a greed monger. America has a large number of scholarship programs for exchange students and international students. In the recent days, they are also emphasizing towards social justice and caring more about people. End quote. Are you saying that social justice is a good thing? Are you a social justice warrior? Thanks for coming out of the closet. It's good to know who you're talking to, or at least who you're reading from. So you are a social justice warrior, and thank you very much. Well, maybe you're not. Who knows? Quote, Donald Trump, being a hardcore capitalist, will rip apart the existing social welfare and scholarship programs and bring down an image of materialistic America to the world. End quote. Now, let's be honest about this, okay? Rip apart the existing social welfare and scholarship programs. that's actually a thing that a lot of conservatives want, because they say that it's going to be good for the economy. And, you run the numbers on it, and you just have to incentivize people in a different way. It's all about your approach. You can regulate everything, a big government regulation, which I think Trump is also going to be a big government person, by the way. And it might hold things together in a way, but the problem is it also removes your flexibility and makes you highly uncompetitive economically. And number 2, hardcore capitalist. No, he's not. If he were a hardcore capitalist, he would be for free trade, but he's actually a protectionist, which I think is going to harm the economy of the United States as well as the economy of the rest of the world, because then everybody else will protectionize as well. Because free market is better than protectionism. And you might say, but with a free market, we'll lose to all these countries. And that's because we've got too many government regulations and stuff. So there you go. It's either big government or small government. You have to really make up your mind. He left thousands of Scottish citizens homeless where he built a golf course. I don't really know about that. Was there really a big city where he built the golf course? Or was it maybe a few houses here and there? Now, of course, I'm not saying that eminent domain is good, especially not if you're building a golf course, which is something that really bugs me about Trump. He uses this, and then he goes and says, oh, we need this land. Can you evict these people? Oh, what will you be using this land for? Yeah, let's build a golf course or a hotel. Please no, that is not okay. That is an abuse of the U.S. Constitution. So he's not a free market capitalist. I'd say he's more a crony capitalist, which is something that you don't really want. But we'll see about that. Quote, he recently has left thousands of Scottish citizens homeless where he built a golf course. His creepy and greedy fantasies will impair the poors of America, end quote. There's no need for an S after poor. And the poor's fantasies? Okay. I suppose that makes sense. Greedy fantasies. How do you know his fantasies? Can you read his mind? How are his fantasies creepy? I think that economically it's going to be better than it would be under Clinton or Sanders, but certainly not as good as maybe Cruz or Rubio. So I'm actually very disappointed with the primaries. But anyway, number 2, overconfidence. Okay, so just 2 more we got to go. Quote, challenging times bring forward the confidence in their leaders. Barack Obama has shown his spines in showing his confidence in some cases where America was challenged, end quote, and yet all the conservatives keep criticizing him for being a weak leader. As I've heard him called President Milquetoast, who keeps bowing to these kings of Arabia, which I suppose is customary, so not too bad. But then he goes and apologizes to Japan for the dropping of the nuclear bombs. And something a lot of people don't know about how that actually happened with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Several days before the bombs were dropped, the U.S. sent planes that dropped about 70 million pamphlets or flyers all over Japan, telling the Japanese exactly the 35 cities that the U.S. had targeted for bombing, and told the civilians that if they did not want to get bombed, they should evacuate, and also telling them that they had a weapon that was many times stronger than the regular bombs. They basically told them about the nuclear bomb. and telling people to evacuate these cities. And guess which cities were on the list? Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In other words, they told them beforehand, and so the civilians that died in those attacks cannot be counted as death by civilian targets, but rather as casualties of war, because they chose not to evacuate those areas. Maybe thinking that their AA would be good enough, but if their AA isn't good enough to stop the US from sending planes over and dropping thousands upon thousands of pamphlets upon Japanese people, then how good would they be at dropping some bombers, stopping bombers? Okay. And also, people say that he has been rather indecisive in regards to the Islamic State. So Obama has been heavily criticized for not showing his spines and not showing his confidence. So this statement that he has shown his confidence is definitely not a universal agreed upon statement. Quote, but this man, Donald Trump, doesn't need a challenge to be overconfident. In many speeches, he has described himself as a really smart person. He is very proud of himself and brags about his educational background, which is nothing special. He is a joker, but not an intelligent one. Confidence is great, but overconfidence can destroy a man, and in this case, a country. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, sure. He is very full of himself. And your education doesn't really mean that you'll be a good leader or not. You can have somebody who's just never ever went to school be a great leader. Of course, not as common, but it does happen. So education does not literally mean that everything's all right with that. Okay. Number 1, he is imprudent. Quote, Donald Trump is someone who has desire and a spirit to pursue things, and that is the reason he has a history of multiple bankruptcies. He has a history of taking bad decisions because of his impulsive nature. He has a desire for money, and in his pursuit took all these bad decisions. The President of America cannot be rash and irresponsible when it comes to taking decisions. The President of America needs to be calculated, measured, and should compromise. End quote. Compromise on what? Let's be honest, there are some things you should not compromise on. Okay? Just putting that out there. There are some things you should not compromise on. Okay. And I think anyone who has any values of any kind can agree that there are some things you should not compromise on. If you cannot imagine anything that cannot be compromised on, then I seriously hope that you evaluate your life, talk to maybe some leaders in your community, and talk to them about having strong values, because you really need some. Okay, Donald Trump's dictionary doesn't contain these words. I should have gone on and on about why he should not be president of America. You cannot afford somebody as rash as him in one of the biggest offices in the world. Now, end quote. Now let's stop here and say Donald Trump compromises all the time. He compromises with Democrats. He compromises with Republicans. He compromises with progressives. He compromises with conservatives. Donald Trump has compromised many, many times. We have seen both in the election and before, as a business leader, he has had to compromise very many times. So the argument is wrong. I'll probably still end up voting for him, even though he's terrible. Hillary's even worse. So if you liked the video, please do leave a like. You can subscribe if you want to. You can follow me on Twitter. Links are in the description below. Google Plus links are also in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Anawiltus over and out.